The 12th of December, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Welcome back. We're back. Let's continue with Bava Metzia.
So, Lou, are we on for today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the other day at the dentist, I had a root canal and some fillings. I have to go back for more work.
Okay. So we are yes. So we got down the Gemora's question. And the Gemora asked Balav, Itosev Reish Lakish, Name of Mihai Nami Tahavi Tiyufta. Oh, so that's the Gemara's question right now. Gemara is asking, does this Mishnah that we have here, that a female maidservant, what she finds belongs to her, does that contradict and refute what Reish Lakish said in the Gemara in Kedushin on Tezayin, when he said that a female maidservant acquires herself with the passing away of her father. The reason that it would contradict Reish Lakish is because the Gemara said we don't know what case it would be that she would still be a Jewish maidservant who would find something and it would belong to her. If she's alive, if her father is alive, it'll belong to him. And if he's not alive, she won't be a maidservant anymore. So what's the Mishnah, according to Reish Lakish, can't explain the case of the Mishnah. So on that, the Gemara is going to answer right now. The Gemara says, no, we don't have to say that it represents a refutation of Reish Lakish. So we're going to start with the Gemara's answer, lo. And this can be found it's right in the middle of the page. It's a few lines up from where the Mishnah starts. The first word in the line is Nema.
Okay, it's 12b2, left-hand column, last paragraph. The Gemora concludes.
Okay, Alan, you want to take it away?
Okay, the Gemara concludes, lo, no, a Mishnah furnishes no proof against Reish Lakish. But he say, in fact, the Mishnah may refer to a case where the father is alive. In such a case, a fine indeed belongs to a father. And what does the Mishnah mean by including a Hebrew maidservant among those whose fines belong to them? The Mishnah really means to exclude maidservants fined from the possession of a master. The Mishnah's intent was to explain that the fine of a Hebrew maidservant does not belong to a master. However, the fine is not actually hers, either since she's a minor, whose fine belongs to her father. The Gemara
Okay.
Okay.
So that's the Gemara's answer. Lafuke the Rabbah. What does it mean in the Mishnah when it says a Jewish maidservant finds something that belongs to her? The language of the Mishnah is shalahen. It belongs to them, meaning to all of these people that have been mentioned in the Mishnah. The male Jewish slave, as well as the female Jewish maidservant. And what does it mean when it says it shalahen? It belongs to them. It doesn't mean that it's going to belong to her. Doesn't mean that it's going to belong to her. It means it's going to belong to their side of the family, so to speak, but not her master. Lafuke, the Rabbah, is referring to the master. The Rav is called the master. And okay, Gemora not more willing to say this. And let's see how Rashi says over here. There's a Rashi over here, Lafuke de Rabbah. It's about the same. It's right by one of the middle lines of the Mishnah. Go over to where the Rashi is. You'll find Lafuke de Rabbah.
Lafuke de Rabbah. Lafuke de Rabbah. Trying to find it. Lafuke de Rabbah. Okay, so it's to exclude. It's to exclude her master. Lafuke she'eno shel Rava ella shel avi V'karei lei shelahen mishum de av minei koski. Let's see. Lapuke, to exclude she'eno shel Rabba, that it's not belong to the master. Ella, rather shel avi, it belongs to the father. The karele, and it is called shelahen, that of them, mishum, because the av minei, that the father minei kizaki. I don't know the last two words. Minei kizaki.
Sounds like the word mina, from her, kazachi. He actually merits. But what sounds like Rashi's saying is that the daughter, when she picks it up, so really she gonna make a kinyan in the item, as opposed to it's not her hand does not belong to the master. So she's picking up and she acquires, but then her acquisition reverts back to her father. So that's what Rashi's saying over here. The av minoah kazachi. The father, he actually merits it from her, from her picking it up. And I think that is I think that's a din derabanan, just like we say about the wife. What the wife finds also belongs to her husband because of mishum eva. So it might be the same reason, might be a different reason when it comes to a daughter, but it means that really midaraisa the women did acquire it, but it reverts to the father, it reverts to the husband midrabanan. And so that's why it's so it's very good actually. Why it says shalahen. It means shalahen, it'll belong to them and not to the master who has acquired the right to her labor, but that doesn't mean that her hand is his hand. Her hand is her own hand, and then the father acquires it from her hand. Okay, so that's the way we'll have to explain this Mishnah in order that it should not refute Reish Lakish. And now we go on to another subject, Metzias Ishto, the finds of his wife. Roy, would you like to continue the reading?
Okay, thank you. So Gemora discusses the next part of the Mishnah, which states, Mitzas Ashita, the find of one's wife, whom he divorced, belongs to her. Belongs to her is in brackets. The Gemara asks, Garisha, does the Mishnah intend to refer to where he divorced her? Shita, then it's obvious that her find belongs to her, since she's no longer married. Why does the Mishnah have to teach us this? The Gemara answers, Akol b'mei asakinan. With what case are we dealing with here in the Mishnah? Begoreshes ve'ena megoreshes. We are dealing with a case in which the woman is divorced, yet not divorced. That is, the divorce is questionable. In such a case, I might think that the husband would continue to be entitled to her fines. Dama Rabbi Zera Omar Shmuel. For Rabbi Zera said in the name of Shmuel, Kol mikom she'amaru hakamim megoreshes ve'ana megoreshes. Wherever the sages use the expression divorced, yet not divorced, that is, in a case where the divorce is questionable, the husband remains obligated in her support. And the art scroll goes into this here, which bit of a note. It says, that is, the husband is obligated to provide her with food, since normally the husband is entitled to his wife's fines and earnings in exchange for supporting her. I might reason that even in a case where there is a possibility that she was divorced, the husband remains entitled to her fines as long as he remains obligated to support her. Therefore, the Mishnah has to teach us that he is not entitled to her fines in this case, even though he is obligated in her support. Tama, May, Amur, Rabbanon, Metzias, Isha, the Bala. But why did the rabbi say that a wife's fine belongs to her husband? Ki chayiv v'lo tiyeve la avo. In order that there should not be any ill will borne by her husband towards her, out of resentment, says Art Scroll, for having to support her without receiving anything in exchange. I'll read this the next few words. That brings us to the next Mishnah. Haba is la ava va'avo. But here, where the husband has already tried to divorce her, there certainly is ill will borne by her husband towards her. There is thus no longer any reason to award her fines to him. He's already against her.
There's already ill will. He gave her a get. So the whole reason why the rabbi said that the fine should belong to the husband is so the husband won't say, "Look, I'm supporting her, and she keeps the things that she finds." It'll create ill will. So rather, we should say that the things that she finds belong to the husband. So they won't create ill will like that. He'll find that very acceptable that he gets for her fines. But in this case, there's even if we say that the fines will belong to the husband, he still has ill will towards her, as evidenced by the fact that he gave her a get. So would not accomplish anything by giving him the fine. Let her keep it. Really, it belongs to her. Midaraisa, it belongs to her.
Does this apply to other things that she might acquire while in this particular state? For example, if she does a bit of work, or if someone gives her tzedakah or something like that, or if someone gives her a present?
What about other things that she earns?
Or acquires somehow. Yeah. Is she still obligated to her husband? She's not. The process of divorce is not clear yet. It hasn't gone through completely cleanly yet. It's still under discussion.
Yeah, it's a suffix whether they're divorced. So in this case, the Rav Zera said that the husband is obligated still to support.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we would say that he's not entitled to what she earns, because that is we would be taking it away from her and giving it to him based upon the fact that maybe they're married, but maybe they're not married. If they're not married, then it's clear that she wouldn't have to give it to him. So I would think that unless he could prove that they're actually married, in case of a suffix, we're not going to take out anything that comes to her and give it to the husband.
Wouldn't the best didn't have to prove this?
Well, he won't be able to prove it because it's we don't know whether the get was valid or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, the But the Beth Din would say that, would determine that, wouldn't they?
No, this is the case that the Gemara is talking about over there is a case where he threw the get into the Rishus Rabim, and the get fell in a place where it's a suffix altogether. It's unclear whether it's closer to him or it's closer to her. If it would be closer to her, she'd be divorced. If it's closer to him, she'd definitely not be divorced. But it wasn't clear whether it was closer to him or closer to her. So it's a case where that's an intrinsic suffix. The Besdin can't resolve such a suffix.
Mm-hmm.
So since the husband can't prove that she was divorced, so how's it gonna work? The husband, in order for us to take it out of the wife and give it to him, he'd have to prove that she wasn't divorced. He can't prove that. It's an intrinsic suffix. It's unresolvable.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll say we'll say in the case of a doubt, we'll leave the money where it is, and it's by the wife. She's the one that earned the money. She's the one that received the gift. The only way the husband would be able to get it would be if he could prove that he was still married to her, but he cannot do that. Okay. Let's see. We have Rashi over here. Migareshes ve'eno migareshes.
Migareshes ve'eno migareshes. Got it.
Where is it?
So it means he being divorced, she's not divorced.
It's the Gemara's way of saying that it's an absolute doubt, unresolvable doubt whether she is or not.
Ah, I see. Higon Zerak Lo Gita Suffolk Karov La Suffolk Karov Lo. A bit Bet Resh Hey Resh, I don't know. That abbreviation.
Rishus Rabim.
But Rishus Rabim in the public area. Okay, so for example, he threw for her a get, and it's a doubt whether it's closer to her or closer to him in the public area.
Right. Because if he threw it into her chutzner, so then even if it was even if he was in the chutzner and he threw it at her, and even if it would be closer to him, there'd still be no doubt that there was a valid gerushin, because in that case there would be a kinyan chutzner. The chutzner would be kona the get. So that's why Rashi has to specify over here that we're talking about it's not her domain that he threw the get to her. It's a public domain, and therefore the public domain, the only way that she'll acquire the get as if he puts it in her hand, and that he didn't do, or if it would be the case that it was definitely closer to her than it was to him. But here, it's a doubt. We don't know. Nobody knows whether it was closer to her or closer to him. So it's an unresolvable suffix. Nothing that the Bezdin can do to prove that it was closer to her, closer to him, in the absence of witnesses that will testify that to that effect. But here we don't have such a thing. So it's an unresolvable doubt. And so what do we do in such a case? So in such a case, that's what Reb Zera says in the name of Shmuel, that we say that the husband remains obligated to give mazonis. But then the question is, what about what she finds? So that's like we explained before. Let's see the next Rashi. Chayav b'mazonoseha.
He's obligated to provide her with food. Umishum haki as tirin le ashmo inan de Metzia so de Metzia sa Shelah de Taima my Amor Rabbanan Metzias Ha Isha Kule. Because of this, each tarikh, it's needed. Lashmo Inan. What's Lashmo Inan?
To hear.
To hear the Metzia Sa Shalah, that what she finds is hers.
Right.
The taima, that the reason my amor, that the reason that the rabbis stated Metzias Ha'isha, the find of the Isha, etc.
Yeah, Rashi ran out of paper, and so he's just going to refer us to what it says in the Gemora for us to finish off the sentence, and that's what Roy read previously. So there's two dinim that we're talking about over here. We're talking about the fact that so first of all, let's go back to the beginning, right? The Mishnah said that a woman who's migareshes, her what she finds belongs to her. So the Gemara asks, what's the Mishnah need to tell me that for? That's obvious. If she's migareshes, so she doesn't have a husband, so obviously what she finds belongs to her. Who else should it belong to? So the Gemara says, no, we're not talking about a woman who is properly divorced. We're talking about a woman who is a suffix, migareshes ve'ena migareshes. She is and she's not. We don't know. It's an irresolvable doubt in this concern. So over here, the Mishnah needs to tell us that in this case, the what she finds will belong to her. Why, says Rashi, explaining the Gemara? Because we would have thought to say that since Reb Zera says in the name of Shmuel that in such a case where she's a suffix like this, the husband is required to give her mazonas, even though it's not clear that they're even married, because maybe the get was effective. But we require him to give mazonas. We would have thought to say, so if he's got to give mazonas, just like every husband who's got to give mazonas. So what's the din by a husband, a regular husband, who in exchange for this that he gives mazonas? The Chachamim said that what the woman finds should revert back to the husband midrabanan. Why? Because otherwise he's gonna feel gypped out. Here he is supporting her, and what she finds, she gets to keep. So we didn't want to create problems of shalom bayis. So we gave it to the husband. But in this case, there's no shalom bayis over here anyway, right? He gave her a get. He tried to give one at least. That we know for sure. That there's no doubt about. He tried to divorce her, and if so, there already is no shalom bayis, and therefore we could say let her keep it. That's what Rashi is referring to. That's what it says in the Gemora. Time of my Omer Rabbanin, Metzias Isha Labala, Ki Heichi Delo Tahavi Lo Eva. So there should be shalom bayis between them. Aye, but this woman, Hacha, that her husband tried to divorce her, Isla Eva ve'Eva. There already is no shalom bayis over there between them, and so we're not gonna preserve any shalom bayis by giving it to the husband. So let her keep it. Okay. And with that, we got up to the Mishnah. Hooray!
Hooray for the Mishnah.
Okay. Alan, you want to read the Mishnah? You have time? Got
Yeah.
4 minutes. Plenty of time. Mishnah on 12b.
12:3, Alan.
The Gemara discusses
12b3,
12b3. Okay.
the top of the page, clearly marked Mishnah.
Oh, the Mishnah. Okay. The rest of the chapter deals with the findings of documents which surely cannot be awarded to the finder and would not benefit him in any case. The document therefore belongs to one of the principals named in it. However, returning it to one of the principals will benefit him, but not the other. The following Mishnahs will delineate when and to whom the documents should be returned. Matzah Shikri Hu. If one finds notes of indebtedness, Im Yesh or Hen Korus and same, then if there is no provision on a lien on real property in the notes, Lo Yakar Zir. The finder may not return them to the lien for to the creditor. Shabbat. For the court will exact payment for the properties based on these notes. Same, but if there is no provision for a lien or real property in the notes,
You should not return it to them.
the finder should return them to the creditor. The base din known Mayhen, for the court will not exact payment for the properties based on these notes. Divrei Rabbi Meir, these are the words of Rabbi Meir. But the sages say, in either case, the finder may not return them to the creditor. Based in if known mayhem, but the court will exact payment for the properties based on these notes. There's a new Gemora here.
Okay, so here's the case over here is talking about somebody finds an IOU note, shtar chov. So what's the issue? Certainly it has sufficient simonim, right? It says the name of the borrower, it says the name of the lender, it says the date, it says for how much it was. It's got plenty of simonim to be able to allow the finder to identify the who's this document belong to, except that there's one big problem, right? What's the one big problem? We do not know whether this IOU document fell from the lender or from the borrower. And so who should we return it to? Each one of them is going to say it fell for me. Unless he could prove that, then it's pretty irresolvable. So there's no real way to determine who it fell from, right? If it fell from the borrower, so that would mean that he already paid it, and the malva gave it back to him when he paid it, and for some reason he didn't tear it up right away. That's why it's a good thing to tear it up right away once it's paid, because then it won't fall into the hands of the lender again. He'll try to use it again against him. Okay, so more about this on Yom Rishon. Okay, so we're holding basically in the Mishnah over here on 12b. Okay, everybody, have a great day. All the best to Lou and to Roy and to Alan and to
Thank you, and to you and your families.
and the families. Bez Hashem.
Okay, Lou.
Okay. Bye for now. Thank you.
All the best.
Lou, 10 to 4. Lou?